When we change our mindsets, we can change our outcomes. Save our lives from sadness, depression, and anxiety, thus giving us the freedom to live the life we want. Hi, I'm Stuart Haskin, founder of getsafe, and your host of the Movement for Change podcast. Hey, all podcasters, thanks for joining the podcast Movement for Change. I'm Stuart Haskin, your host. Today, we're going to continue with our relationship series with Jack Gershfeld. He's a great therapist, he's a great relationship expert, and we're going to talk about lack of intimacy that happens probably with a lot of us. You get tired, you get disinterested, there's other things that are getting in the way. Hopefully this short podcast will give you some tips and tricks to light the fire again. Thanks for joining. Let's go make some change. Hi, Jack. Welcome back. We're on a roll right now, I think, with our relationships. But it was funny. We were talking before we closed last week, and I think this, like you said, you had said this could go forever because relationships are such a large component. So,
yeah, it never stops. Intimacy and relationships and conflicts—they're all going to come together, and it's a part of our life. So it's a lifelong learning for each couple and in any relationship to stay together, to stay in a loving relationship and care for each other.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I think so many couples have it, but no one really knows, or they look at these couples and you probably see walking in, you're probably very surprised at the lack of intimacy a lot of couples have. And it is a big thing, and how to keep it alive after so many years. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Intimacy and is a big part of it, and it's interesting because many couples come and the first thing they say, we don't have sex, or we're not close enough, we haven't been together for years, and it seems like that would be the focus right away, to focus on the intimacy. But most of the time we find out that there's underlying other relationship difficulties that stop couples from being close to each other. And I always say a funny story that if you take any book about relationships, especially intimate relationships, the sex part always at the last chapter of the book.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
Because you got to get all the other stuff in the row and get everything done before you can go to a place and saying, okay, I feel safe. I can have intimacy with my partner and we feel connected and loving and caring for each other.
Yeah, I heard a saying, this is literally probably, 40 years ago. I remember a guy saying it, and I was young, I was just listening. I don't know if it holds true, but he goes, when sex is good in a relationship, it's 10%. When it's bad, then it becomes 90%. So I think, not that it's where people focus, they forget that there's, like you were just saying, there's other things around it that are halting. It's not just a sexual act.
Right. And not a single couple gets together and says, we're not going to be intimate with each other. They all have intention and care and love for each other and infatuation and lust, whatever feeling they're experiencing, that the intimacy is part of it. But something happens in the relationship as the people are together that may break that bond on intimacy. And it could be a postpartum depression after a child. It could be a big fight. It could be a faith differences, or looking at the faith component, that could be part of it. So what happens, that intimacy stops, and then slowly it doesn't come back. And initially, partners kind of go along and say that maybe that's the way it is right now. We're busy with work, we're busy with families, we're busy with children, we come home, we're exhausted, and then it becomes a routine. And before you know, comes a time when one partner says, that's not what I want something more. And the difficulty is that it becomes very contentious, because one partner is demanding and the other partner is saying that I can't do it without feeling safe, and the other partner escalates and me being more aggressive, and the other partner says, the more aggressive you are, the less I want to be with you. And it becomes a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
A vicious cycle where they can't find each other intimately. It gets to the point maybe they can't touch each other, they can't sit next to each other. And talking about skin to skin contact is probably non-existent either. And there's also some physical issues. Maybe one partner is snoring, or one partner moves a lot at night, and partners decide eventually to move to different bedrooms or different places, and eventually the intimacy weans down and become non-existent. It's a very difficult situation. People navigate the best they can through it, but the good thing is there is a way to recover from it. There is a way to find connection again and to feel safe and close to each other.
Do you have
But it takes some
like
time.
well, I was thinking a couple things when you were speaking. First, it's funny. I have a lot of female friends I speak to, a lot of male friends, and I look at rejection, not to sound sexist, but different for women, for men. Like if a man wants to be intimate and the wife says, no, I'm tired, he's like, all right, whatever. If the wife wants to be intimate and the man says, no, I'm tired, I feel like sometimes it's taken to another emotional level. Like, what's going on? Is there someone else? But guys are used to rejection. We've had rejection in relationships all our life. It's kind of like, no, okay. But I don't know if you see that in your practice. I see that with friends. Like, he didn't want to be intimate. It's what's going on with him? And it's like, okay, maybe nothing. Maybe he was tired. So.
Right. I mean, there is differences between the partners. One partner a little bit more sexually active, the other one's a little bit less sexually active. One partner pulls away when they said no and feels that I need to respect my boundaries and I need to respect what my partner is asking me to do. The other partner gets anxious, thinking that maybe when their partner is not interested, that they don't love them anymore, they don't care about them. And I would say that statistically speaking, 70% of the women, they're more of they would get worried if a man says no. And it's normal because their desire is to connect with the partner and be closer to their partner. So when they reject it, they go a little bit on overdrive and says, what's happening? Why you don't like me? Why you don't want to be with me? Right. For men, we have a way, about 70% of the men have a way to internalize this rejection and put it in a little box in a compartment and put it aside and then go on with their day. It doesn't mean that they don't care. It doesn't mean that they don't feel as much pain as their partner feels when they're not connected. But the internal structure and is such that they're able to put aside for now. The difficulty there's difficulty in both sides, right? The way they navigate through this. But the biggest difficulty is whenever men put things aside, eventually it boils up.
Right.
Comes back and it becomes a big explosion. I haven't had sex for the last 3 months. You don't care about me. Why am I even here? I just need to leave if you don't want to be with me. It becomes very big emotional escalation. For women, there is a doubt. And then time after time, there is a doubt comes in. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not pretty. Maybe I'm not attractive. Maybe something's wrong with me. And that's a self-blame comes.
Or is there someone else? What's going on?
Right. And there's a fear that maybe somebody else has attention of their partner. That's a difficult interaction because there's no safe off-ramp from that interaction.
Right.
It feeds on itself. Right. So the more you say, no, I'm tired, the more your partner gets disconnected. And then there's a tension, a big explosion. And then there's a fight. And after that fight, now the female doesn't want to have sex, and then it shuts down, and then even more escalation, and slowly both partners feel defeated.
Right.
And once they feel defeated, then intimacy is gone.
Yeah.
No place to go. There's no place to go.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, I agree if the rejection is consistent for a guy, then I think that's when the hurt starts. I think they're better with, once in a while, oh, I'm tired. All right, well, go watch the game or something like that. But I think after a while, you're right. Then there is something like, what's wrong with me? You're not really attracted to me, as well as what the female will feel. Then we start going into that cycle.
Are you searching for a safe and supportive place to strengthen your relationships and improve your mental well-being? Well, look no further than Couples TLC Counseling, your trusted community mental health clinic right here in Fullerton, California. At Couples TLC Counseling, we believe that every individual, couple, and family deserves access to quality mental health services. As a nonprofit clinic, we are committed to providing affordable and compassionate care to our community. With our team of dedicated associate therapists, we offer a wide range of services, both online and in person. Whether you're facing challenges as an individual, struggling within your partnership, or navigating complex family dynamics, we're here to help. Our clinic has 7 therapy rooms, each designed to create a warm and welcoming environment for healing and growth. Our experienced associate therapists will work closely with you to identify your unique needs and tailor a treatment plan that best suits you and your loved ones. Couples TLC Counseling also offers support groups specialized for those who identify as male, female, or non-binary, providing a safe space to connect, share, and grow. Additionally, our parenting classes and specialty workshops empower you with practical tools to navigate the challenges of parenthood and enhance family relationships. Don't wait any longer to prioritize your mental health and relationships. Take the first step toward a brighter future by contacting Couples TLC Counseling today. Visit our website at couplestlc.org. That's couplestlc.org to learn more about our services and schedule your appointment. Couples TLC Counseling, where healing and connection thrive. Couples TLC Counseling does not provide emergency services. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, please contact emergency services or go to the nearest emergency room.
Everybody has the right to be safe.
At GetSafe, we believe in 4 keys of leadership: empathy, integrity, inclusion, and community. That last piece, the community, is essential for us here at GetSafe. We believe in taking care of the community. If we care for something, nurture it, we become part of its growth. GetSafe is an agency that empowers a wide variety of groups, clubs, agencies, workplaces, all that make up our community that we are proud of. When we change our community mindset, we can positively change our outcomes towards a safer future with one another.
All right. So, what are some ways to reignite or rekindle or reconnect that you would recommend?
Well, I think that's we can go a little bit into solution trying to help couples, but something most important and probably is the safety.
Right.
Emotional safety between 2 partners is the key for satisfying sexual relationship. As long as there's no emotional safety, sex takes a little bit, intimacy takes a little bit different shade, and most of the time it's a performance sex, or maybe just a resolve internal frustration sex, right? But or solving their emotional difficulties or emotional connection with each other through sex, and eventually that doesn't work because sex becomes a tool to reduce the relationship distress instead of working on the relationship and then going to the
Can you walk through those? I mean, I do find that interesting because I hear performance sex a lot. Can you go through a couple of those things that you had mentioned, that what it is for the audience?
Well, a lot of times men may want to feel that they still got it, that they still have it, and they want to make sure that they perform the best they can. It's not about intimacy and being close and feel your partner and being synchronous with your partner, what your partner needs. It's more about showing that I got it, all right? And that doesn't bring closeness. It brings a temporary relief, but doesn't bring long-term closeness with your partner. There's a obligatory sex, right? We're married. I mean, we should have sex,
Right,
at least a little bit, right? So
So
there's a little bit of obligation where we haven't had sex for a couple of weeks. Well, it's okay, let's just have sex. And it could be from either partner. And that's a tough also, because there should be an obligation to have a sex. There should be a desire and need and wanting and closeness with your partner. But so this gets into the difficult situation also. And a lot of times couples will recognize, hey, we're just doing it because we have to, not because we need to or want to right now. And that's probably a signal that there's an underlying issue. underlying issue in the relationship. When sex is going south and starts slowly to disappear, this is like a canary in the coal mine. It's a warning sign. The sirens are on. Pay attention, right? Something's happening. Get yourself in the place where you can find somebody to help you with your relationship, because it doesn't improve on its own. It doesn't get better on its own. So I would say that being aware that something's happening in your intimacy that one or both of you are not satisfied with, and bring it to the awareness. And that's a big part. A lot of times it's very scary to talk about sex, and it's scary to tell your partner that I miss you, I want to be close to you, I want to be connected, I want to be intimate. It's tough because it may be perceived as putting pressure on your partner, or maybe knowing that your partner may have some difficulties. You don't want to put additional load on her and him, right? And we can, of course, we have to rule out the medical conditions, and medical conditions, they're straightforward. You have to have courage to go to a doctor, and many men won't go to a doctor. They just hold until the last moment, and finally they go under duress. Getting to the doctor early is important. Take care of any physical issues, and but taking the medical issues aside, the underlying cause most of the time is the relationship distress, and that's a number one. Number two is lack of education, understanding what is sex and what is normal sex, and because with the proliferation of the pornography now, there's a lot of performance. There's a lot of performance sex. And people look at pornography, and this is a fantasy world.
Yeah.
No mortal woman in a romantic relationship, as a spouse or as a long-term partner, can perform. And the same no mortal man can do what they show. Porn is designed for people to addict.
And it's the body images, all aspects of what goes on, how it goes. Our agency teaches healthy and sexual relationships, and we had I think it was probably a 17-year-old say, I'm going to go home and study. Oh, what are you going to study? Because we didn't give him any handouts. Oh, I'm going to go watch porn. So we tried to explain that that's not the real world. And a lot of times, and we also work with people with developmental disabilities. So they think when a plumber comes over, it's okay to have sex, or it warps the reality of what life is with this porn. So that is an aspect. I also know a guy who he said he's gone 120 days without watching porn, and there's an addictive personality to him, and it's kind of, I think there's a movement about not watching porn, not releasing yourself unless you're with your partner. So there's different things like that I do find interesting out there, that there's a lot of different paths. But anyway, if you could...
Right. Whatever is comfortable for both partners,
right.
Everything needs to be discussed. There's no norm. They say this is right, this is wrong. The key there is for each partner to feel safe, for each partner to feel respected, for each partner to feel loved and cared for. And then they can decide what works for them. Right. That's not an issue. The problem, if you go to the porn for because you can't talk to your partner, if that's a place you turn to when you get stressed, overwhelmed in the relationship, then your relationship doesn't get improved, right? And the thing with the porn, it's an addiction. It's a normal, like anything else, addictive environment. And we know the outcome of addiction. And typically the outcome of addiction is impotence. The outcome of addiction is objectification of your partner. There's like I said, perception of what sex is now tainted by the mechanics and the artists who are involved in performing.
Right.
So I would say that we're not saying that porn doesn't have a place in the relationship. You can discuss with your partner and discuss how you're going to do it together, or what it means for both of you. because watching porn for some people will be an infidelity, and then the partner will be very stressed and overwhelmed, learning that that their spouse is or their partner is looking at porn. Most of it is to have this open communication and talk about the intimacy. And a lot of times, if you can't talk about intimacy, which is normal, I don't think you should worry that something's wrong with your relationship if you can't talk about intimacy. It's normal. It's a tough subject. Some people are open. Some people need a safe environment. The best way is to find a good sex therapist who understands that, who is trained to help in this area, and to navigate through the ups and downs and valleys and hills of this relationship. It all starts from acknowledging that something is not right, that something is not happening in our relationship, and make it visible. If it's not invisible, if it's not being discussed, it's like swept under the rug. We know there's difficulty. We know we don't have sex. We know we don't touch each other, or we know we don't sit next to each other. And then there's no way to address this issue.
Yeah, I mean, because I think what I'm hearing is, again, the theme of all our podcasts is communication, and the fact that even if porn can exist, because I know couples that watch it because it spices something up or someone enjoys it,
Sure.
and they're both on point with it. It's an agreed decision, and I think that's what, because I'm just in my head, I'm thinking of guys listening to this. Well, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be aggressive, not aggressive? But I think it's a communication thing. You find out what your partner likes, what works for you as well, and then you come to this happy medium. And it can change for sure, right? Maybe it's Saturday night, it's wild time. We're hanging from the ceiling fans, and then Sunday is just an intimate kind of hangout.
Right. The key there will come back again: awareness, understanding your partner, and providing emotional safety and physical safety. These are important things. And if we try to jump ahead of them, then the other partner may not feel safe. And for many women, losing this safety, emotional safety and physical safety is a big signal to shut down. That part of their body shuts down and it's not available anymore. It's not like they're sitting there and saying, I'm not gonna be intimate with you. They're physically cannot be there. All right. So, can
you give me just an example of safety? The only reason I ask is because I have single women friends that I talk to, and I always think, as a guy, because we're, biologically we're a little stronger, we're more physical. So I always think it would be scary for a woman dating and then going in an intimate relationship because you don't know what you're getting or who you're getting. And I don't know, I always feel like that there is a level of, I want to make sure I feel safe. But what's the safety mean in like a relationship, like for a female, like what you're thinking right now? It sounds like that part. I mean, I know both partners have to feel safe, but I was just thinking of this, is it different for a male or female?
Well, when we talk about safety, there's two aspects. There's physical safety, and that's given, right? That has to be there. Physical safety is number one. If there's no physical safety, the rest of it is not important. We got to address that issue as most important issue. But then there's emotional safety. And emotional safety is where your partner is able to hear you, understand it, accept who you are, the way you are, and be okay with this, and also attaining to your needs. And it goes both ways. It's not just meant for women. It goes both ways. Attending to your partner's needs in the moment of stress. Maybe the person is anxious before intimacy. Maybe the person needs a little bit of time to warm up and feel safe. And when I say feel safe, that everything's okay. There's no that their partner accepts them just the way they are. Yeah. That they don't need to perform. And if something doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And we still love each other. We still care about each other. We're still important to each other. That constant reinforcement that you're still okay with me, no matter what happens. Yeah. Still love you. That provides a safety. And the key here is a consistency, right? We can't be safe one day and then unsafe the other day and safe one day. And the consistency means it's consistently be there for your partner when they need you. If they need to feel safe, they can ask, can you hold my hand? Can you hug me? I'm feeling a little bit stressed, right? But if there's no consistency, then the outcomes are not consistent.
Yeah, and I'm looking again because I am a male. I look at the men I talk to, and there is a performance anxiety. And I think what you just said, like if I'm going to go to the males, if there was supposed to be an intimacy and maybe they're not being aroused and the male's not getting aroused, knowing it's okay and knowing there's other things to do and your partner is, okay, let's, it's, if you want to be still connected, we can try something else or we can hang out
Right.
here, so I think that's super important, especially when I look at for males, because I hear that even though there's tons of drugs out there now that people can get, but I hear that a lot. They can't get aroused, and then they feel like a failure, and then it just spirals down and it gets worse and worse. But
Right. Once you have it once, then the next time it's even more anxious. Next time it's even more difficult. So it's up to your partner to reassure you that they still love you, they still care about you, you're still important to them, that we'll work on it together, and we can, simply lay to each other and hold each other and find a way to satisfy each other with other means. Being open and having a discussion and letting your partner know what's happening with you, not just shut down. Let's say if a male can't perform and they just become quiet, shut down, turn the other side and stop talking. Well, that creates a lot of anxiety for a woman. The best way is to discuss it. Whatever happens, let's talk about it. What's going on. Okay. And maybe you don't know what's going on, then okay.
And also I having female friends know is it me? What's wrong with me? He's not right. He can't get aroused with me. So it goes both ways. And we're at that time again that people are probably getting out of their car and going to work or the gym, but it seems like communication is key. But if you want to give 3 points, I think you had some really solid points earlier, and if you want to wrap up with a couple.
Right. We can, especially when it comes to intimacy, the most important thing is to be aware. Okay, don't let it just slowly disappear. When you become aware that something's not working right, okay, in a bedroom, then the next step is how to find help. You need to look for help. I find a lot of times people try to do it on their own and they fail. And something to realize that when there's a difficulty in the bedroom, then there's something in the relationship that doesn't work. Right. Something that you're not noticing, maybe no emotional closeness, not knowing what your partner is doing, not eating dinners together, maybe not having dates, not something that keeps you apart from each other. And the final thing is, it's okay to have difficulties in the bedroom. That's what happens. And don't get disappointed. That's real life. Everything that we see on the movie screens and the porn site, this is fantasy. The real life, that sometimes we have ups in the bedroom, sometimes we have downs. And when we have downs, we support each other. And when we have ups, we enjoy each other.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you for helping this audience change their mindset to have more positive outcomes. And I look forward to the very next episode with you. That was very fascinating and very quick. It seemed that time just flew by, but thank you for everything.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I like your slogan that you keep repeating. I think it's an awesome slogan. If you change your mindset, you will change outcomes.
I appreciate it.
And that's the key.
All right. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. See you next time.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Movement for Change. We hope that our discussion has left you with new perspectives and insights that can help you change mindsets and save lives. Please visit us at getsafeusa.com for resources, trainings, and if there's a topic you want to hear about or you have questions, please email us at info@getsafeusa.com. Together, we can make the change we want to see.